When you're staring at that add to cart button for a high-end workstation, a lot of questions start to crowd in. Will this laptop actually keep up with the workloads I throw at it? Am I paying for a brand name or for real, day-to-day productivity? And what happens if I choose the wrong configuration and end up with a machine that feels more like a luxury laptop than a true workhorse? Those are the doubts that make me pause before I click buy. In the next few minutes I'm going to walk through the Lenovo ThinkPad P1 Gen 7 and let you decide whether the price tag matches the real-world value. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First, let's talk about who this notebook is built for. The P1 Gen 7 targets professionals who need desktop-class performance on the go. Think engineers running CAD simulations, video editors rendering 4K timelines, or data scientists training models on a single machine. If your daily workflow relies on heavy multi-threaded applications, the combination of an Intel Core Ultra 7155H and 32GB of LPDDR5X RAM means you can keep dozens of browser tabs, a full IDE, and a rendering engine open without the system hiccuping. On the other hand, if you spend most of your day in Outlook, web browsing, and occasional spreadsheets, you'll be paying a premium for power you'll never tap. The display is the first place where the P1 shows its professional pedigree. A 16-inch WQUXGA touchscreen at 3840x2400 pixels delivers more than 4 times the pixel density of a standard 1080p laptop. In practice, that translates to razor-sharp image editing where you can see individual pixel defects, and a video editing timeline where every cut line is crystal clear. I tested the screen with a raw photo shoot and found that color grading felt accurate straight out of the box, so you won't need a color-calibrated external monitor for most tasks. The touchscreen adds a bit of flexibility for sketching initial concepts, but you'll quickly discover that the premium glass surface is more reflective than a matte panel, so working in bright rooms can be a little distracting. Storage is another area where the P1 earns its keep. A 1TB NVMe SSD means you're not just getting speed, you're getting room to store the large project files that power users generate. I swapped a multi-gigabyte 4K video archive from an external drive to the internal SSD and saw load times drop from 30-odd seconds to under 5 seconds for the same timeline. That kind of responsiveness can shave minutes off a daily workflow, especially when you're opening and closing large libraries repeatedly. Now, let's address the graphics card. The NVIDIA RTX2000 Ada generation with 8GB of dedicated VRAM is positioned as a professional GPU, meaning it's optimized for workstation workloads like CAD and 3D rendering. In a stress test with a mid-range Autodesk Revit model, the rendering time was roughly 30% faster than a comparable laptop with a consumer-grade RTX 3050. For video creators, that card also handles 4K playback without dropping frames, so you can edit high-resolution footage without constantly pausing to let the GPU catch up. However, the RTX 2000 is not the latest RTX 4000 series, so if you're chasing the absolute top tier of ray tracing performance, you'll notice the difference in synthetic benchmarks. For most professional workflows, though, the GPU offers enough headroom without forcing you into the ultra-expensive tier. Battery life is where the P1's workstation focus shows its limits. With the high-resolution screen, powerful CPU, and discrete GPU all running at full tilt, the 80 Wh battery lasted me about 5 hours of mixed-usage coding, some rendering, and a few video passes. That number drops to 3 hours if you keep the screen at maximum brightness and run a GPU-intensive simulation. It's not a laptop you can comfortably bring to a full day of client meetings without plugging in. If you need something you can run unplugged for 8 hours in a coffee shop, the P1 might feel restrictive. Thermal performance is another practical consideration. Lenovo's cooling system uses a dual-fan setup with a heat pipe that keeps the CPU temperature in the low 80s Celsius under sustained load. The fans become audible after about 10 minutes of heavy rendering, but they never ramp up to a screaming level that would drown out a voice call. The laptop stays comfortably warm on the palm rest, so you won't be burning your hands while typing long reports. The trade-off is that the chassis is a bit heavier, about 5 pounds, making it less breezy to carry around compared to ultra-portable equivalents. Keyboard and touchpad feel familiar to anyone who has used ThinkPads before. The English layout keyboard has the classic concave key design and the iconic trackpoint nub, which can speed up navigation once you get used to it. The spacebar has a slight wobble after a few weeks of heavy typing, which I observed during a marathon coding session. It's not a showstopper, but if you value immaculate key stability for long-form writing, you might notice it. So, who should click the buy button? If you're a freelance designer who needs to travel between client sites and still wants the power to run